Welcome to It's in the System Investigation 1.1. In this investigation, we have a fun little title, Shirts and Caps, solving equations with two variables. Today we are going to jump into the whole idea of solving equations where we have not just one variable saying like 0 is equal to 2x. Instead, we are going to have two variables, whereas maybe y is equal to 2x. So we have two variables, 1 and 2. So we're going to play around with that idea today. Here's the question that comes up with us, or here's a scenario that we have. We have an 8th grade fundraiser, and they've decided that they're going to sell t-shirts and caps. Their profit for t-shirts is $5 and the profit per cap is $10. And their goal is to raise $600 for an end of year celebration. So our first job is to do this. I would like us to write an equation that describes this situation. So we need to somehow relate caps and t-shirts to $600. So let's write an equation for this. We could say, well, we need to make a profit or total profit of $600, and we're going to sell t-shirts for $5 and caps for $10. So we could end up with this situation, 600 is equal to 5t plus 10c. So depending on the number of t-shirts, we'll get $500, depending on $5 per t-shirt, and we'll get caps for the $10 profit. What are some possible solutions for this equation is our next question. When I look at this, we need to figure out how many t-shirts we could potentially be selling and how many caps we could sell, and determine if that would get us $600. So if I were to sell something like 2 t-shirts, I would be making $10. 5 times 2 equals 10. Then that means all the rest of this $600 has to be taken up by the caps. So that means $590 has to be taken up by the caps. That means I'd have to sell 59 caps to make $600, because I'd have 10 plus 590 is equal to a $600 profit for that trip. So one possible solution is potentially just saying 2 t-shirts and 59 caps would take care of the situation. We could also say that, well, let's up the number of t-shirts by a substantial amount. Let's say maybe 20 t-shirts. If we had 20 t-shirts, multiplied that by $5, we'd be making $100 just from t-shirts. That means the other $500 needs to come from caps. That means we'd have to sell 50 caps. So then we'd get our $600. Let's see if we can figure out one other possible solution. Let's up the amount of t-shirts, or let's up the amount of let's not up the amount of caps. Let's decrease the number of caps, perhaps. Let's say that we're only going to make 10 caps as profit. So 10 times 10. So essentially we're selling 10 baseball hats, and we get $100 from that. As well, that would mean that everything else, the other $500, needs to be taken up by the number of t-shirts, and we'd have to have $100 or 100 t-shirts to take care of that. So we'd have 100 t-shirts plus 10 caps, and we'd make $600. So all of these are possible solutions. Now, what's kind of cool is we can actually take this information and we could potentially plot this in a graph. So our graph could have caps along the bottom and shirts vertically. And if that's the case, at 59 caps, maybe way out here, we're at 2 t-shirts, so very close. If we have 50 caps, perhaps right here, we're at 20 t-shirts. And if we're at 10 caps, maybe right here, we're at 100 t-shirts. And what we'd end up finding is this is sort of a linear equation. That was a horrible line. I drew that awfully. So we have potentially a linear equation starting. So we're going to use this information and use this idea for our next problem. X plus y is equal to 10. We've taken this from a super specific task looking at shirts versus caps for an 8th grade situation, but instead now we're going to look at a very generalized situation, x and y, and that is equal to 10. We need to find 5 solution pairs, so we're looking for coordinates, including some with negative values for this situation. One way that we can do this is we could make ourselves a table. So if we were to make ourselves a table, we'd have x and y, and we need to find 5 sets, so I'm going to make 5 little spots for this. And we need to do this with having some negative values. So let's say -4. We could also do -2, 0, 2, and 4. Just a bunch of numbers. I'm totally picking them at random. If I do that, and if I say that my x is equal to -4, I could put that into our original equation right here. X plus y is equal to 10, and I can solve for y. If I have -4 plus y is equal to 10, I could add 4 to both sides to balance everything out, and I get y is equal to 14. So my y would be 14 in this case. I could then go to the next one. If I had -2 for my x plus y is equal to 10, add 2 to both sides, we get y is equal to 12. Cool. Let's keep on going. We're going to keep on filling out this table. If x were equal to 0, then we have y, and that's equal to 10. We get y is equal to 10 because the 0 doesn't really affect anything, so we just get 10 for that one. And as I see here, I'm starting to see a pattern develop. I'm subtracting 2 each time, and if that's the case, I'm going to predict that my next value will be 8, and I'm going to predict the next one is going to be 6. So let's see if that is the case. If I put 2 in for x, we have y is equal to 10, minus 2, y is equal to 8. Yay! I was right with my prediction. As well, we have 4 plus y is equal to 10. We're going to subtract 4 from both sides, so we get y is equal to 6. Again, I am spot on with my prediction. So these are now ordered pairs. I could write this first set, oops, I'm moving things all around. I could write this first set right here as a coordinate pair as saying -4, 14. That is a point on a graph. We could also have that same thing for the next one, -2, 12, 0, 10, 2, 8, and 4, 6. And we're all set there. We have a bunch of coordinate points. So very last thing that you need to be able to do with this is you need to be able to take that information and you need to plot those solutions on this coordinate grid and draw a graph showing all the possible solutions. So we need to take this very specific problem, or very generalized problem, I guess I should say, and plot it. So I'm going to set ourselves up with all the information we need. Just one moment. Okay, so that was a quick moment, right? All right, so we have all of our points here and we have a new graph created. We now need to plot this information. So let's plot these points and see what sort of concoction develops. We have -4, 14, so I'm going to go over to -4. Oops, that's -3. That was smooth. -4, one more over. -4, and we're going to go up 14, so I got 2, 4, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So I'm going to erase all this extra stuff. Then we have 2, 12, so over 2, and I'm just going to go, down a couple. We have 0, 10, so again, down a couple. 2, 8, and then 4, 6. So what has sort of developed, I'm going to make this dot a little bit better. What has sort of developed and let's see if I can do it. I can do it, I can do it. Stick with me. Close enough. So what has sort of developed? Nice line. Let's see if I can make a nice line out of all of this. Ooh, there we go. Believe it or not, I've done like 3 takes with that one. So I have this nice line. This shows all the possible solutions for this particular equation, x plus y is equal to 10. it tells me that I have that y-intercept of 10. So if I were to really start thinking about it, we have that y-intercept. It makes sense. And then also any point along this line, any point, any x value along that line would get a corresponding y value that would be a point on here. We would be able to give it coordinates, x, y. We'd be able to say, okay, at a positive 10x, we're at 0y. It would be right here. We would also be able to say at negative 30x, we would be at a certain number y, probably 40 or something like that. So those are solutions for this situation. You're going to be going through this problem, and you're going to be going through A through C, actually A through D, I believe, for this particular investigation. But I'd like you to have the takeaway of understanding that this setup, x plus y, is equal to a number or whatever you have going on with the x's and y's. It creates a certain type of graph every single time. If we have ax plus by is equal to c, a, b, and c being any number in the entire world, if we had an equation that could be set up like this is the standard form of an equation, what type of graph does it create every single time? See if you can figure it out. Go through Investigation 1.1 and enjoy. Bye. As always, please ask questions. Ciao.